let's get into it. Come on, let's go.
This episode is sponsored by Skillshare.
Oh, not a
This
sponsor.
video contains content that some might find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. You step into an elevator.
Yes.
You press a button.
Oh no, I cannot. Oh, already gonna be stuck.
You wait a moment. Then you get out. A simple process. A process that you don't pay much attention to. That is until those doors don't open. And that's where we find our narrator, wedged in the space between familiar and fatal.
Monka W. Hi, Icy. How are you, man?
I'm Ryan Bergara, and this is Are You Scared? A show where I tell my friend Shane Madej the internet's scariest stories that may or may not be true. Now, I have not read this story
Monka.
before, and neither has Shane. So lock your doors, turn off the lights, and let's see if we can make it until the end. Going down. Did you know an elevator dings twice when it's going down and once when it's going up? I'm sure you've heard those dings before.
Ding!
It's a short
Ding!
tonal sound.
Hi, Polar Bear,
not
how are
exactly
you?
Bells, but not exactly not bells either. It's just an elevator sound, I guess.
Yes,
A
sir.
noise you wouldn't really associate with anything else. The last time I used an elevator,
Doorbell niche?
I heard it ding twice. I was going down. My name is Kor Licata. I'm a junior in college. I live in a dorm with roommates and stuff. We're on the 6th floor of a building with something like 16 floors.
Monka W. That's a
27.
big
Point is,
building.
It's tall enough that it requires an elevator.
Monka
which I
W.
ride several times a day, every day, ever since I moved in 2 years ago.
I would never
Brag
ride.
about it.
I wouldn't. I don't know, man. Elevators give me. They scare me. They scare me. I'd rather take stairs sometimes. I'm keeping a buck stack. 16 floors. I don't know. My fat ass probably would be like elevator. Then the cable would break. I'd be like, and then next thing you know, I'm a sandwich on the bottom of the elevator shaft. But it's okay.
Mr. Elevator over here.
She's just setting the scene, is all.
Monka S.
That's, you know, no need to be rotten about it or
I'm not
nasty.
being rotten. I'm just saying, cool, we've all ridden elevators. You don't have to rub it in our faces that you get to ride elevators all day long.
Now, I cannot stress this enough. There was nothing, absolutely nothing weird about this elevator. It wasn't even sketchy looking like some are. You know, the kind with the flickering lights or the weird groaning sound when you step on. Or the doors that make uncomfortable screeching noises.
What kind of elevators are they getting into? I've
Not
never.
this one. It was pretty fucking solid by all accounts. I like the way that
Pretty solid.
this narrator describes things. Very just colloquial.
Pretty fucking solid lift here. This thing
Yeah.
gets you to where you need to go.
I like when people describe things as solid, and even more when they
describe-
add the fucking in there. I don't know, it tickles me.
Fucking solid. Solid,
It was
man.
pretty fucking solid by all accounts. Always looked functional, was about as clean as you can expect
Pretty
an elevator
solid.
in a college dorm to be. I've lived in this dorm building for 2 years. Living in a place for so long, you get used to stuff, you know? Even if you're not trying to notice it, you start to get a feel for certain details of the place. Like the spot where the carpet turns to tiling in the lobby, and how you automatically step over it after tripping on it like 5 times at the beginning. Or how the elevator beeps pleasantly as it passes each floor, but that it doesn't stop on the 2nd floor. So the silence is extra long between the 3rd and 1st floors.
Monka W.
Remember that last one.
Yes, sir.
I won't ever forget it. Remember that silence. Well, the only thing that's ever happened to me that's scary on an elevator was I was traveling up several floors to a very high location, and I knew I had an extended time in an elevator, and I had a fart that was imminent, and it was a
G-string
elevator
shat
full of people,
niche?
and it was painful.
I'm imagining that scene in Winter Soldier, except instead of a fight breaking out, it's you just ripping huge ass.
Before I did rip ass, I did say, before we begin, does anybody want to get out? And no one got out.
Monka
So
S.
I think that's
I've never been in that situation where you got to take a poo-poo nation inside of an elevator. Like, what if you have to fartle dart?
really on them.
They were probably like, oh man, this guy really likes the winter school. Oh, what is that?
Hi, Blix. How are
On
you?
Saturday, sometime around 9 in the morning, I went to get my laundry. I'd woken up early and started a load, since the laundry room is always pretty empty early in the morning on weekends. I was wearing my pajamas. I passed one of my roommates on the way out.
It's Steve. It's Steve. It's Steve.
She was sitting on the couch watching a YouTube video.
What are you doing?
I
Oh, she's
can't
watching.
remember if
She's
I
watching
said
Fluffy
anything to her.
Penguin.
I think I probably just did something dumb, like make kissy lips at her. Maybe. We were always doing dumb shit like that.
I miss college, you know, making kissy lips.
Is that what you were doing on the reg every day? Kissy lips my day?
Yeah, everybody does that in college, make kissy lips on the reg. That's just sort of one of those classic college things that we all did. I remember
Except
making
you
kissy
got
lips.
in trouble because you were not doing it to roommates, you were doing it to your professors.
Monka.
I was doing it to my professors and the TAs and yes, so sure.
Put the
Okay.
audience and myself in the
Okay.
POV of this teacher.
All right, I need you to really assume the role of prof and, you know, be lecturing
Professor.
about physics or something.
I read.
So as you can see here, the speed of sound.
Hey!
Okay, what are? Okay,
Hey!
what are these guys doing?
Okay, if you could just have a seat here, class is already begun.
Yo, he's about to
No!
kiss him. What's going on?
That's college for you. We've all been there.
So I left my
I
bed,
haven't.
laundry basket in one hand, keys in the other,
Monka
my
S?
phone in my pocket.
It's Steve.
I walked to the elevator and hit the call button. The doors opened as soon as my finger left the cold metal. It dinged. Twice. Quick and short. Going down.
I've never heard an elevator do
I
that.
stepped in,
Is that what
pushed
that
the
means?
button for
I don't.
the first floor,
Maybe I'm
And
stupid.
the doors slid closed.
Thanks.
If there was anything immediately off about the situation in those initial first seconds, I didn't notice it. I had no reason to think anything out of the ordinary would happen. So, I just stood at the back, leaned against the wall, and waited as I felt it start going down.
Monka.
This sounds like a classic elevator experience.
This story is about to make me never go in an elevator again. I would be that type of person. Like, I'll be like 35. I'll be like, oh, we're going one story up in the elevator. I'm like, I'm taking the stairs, Monka S. I'm taking the stairs.
Nothing wrong here.
Yeah, I mean,
Something's gonna happen.
It's an isolated, mundane moment in a otherwise very normal day, which means it's ripe for the plucking of a. I don't know where I was going with that.
What does
Maybe like
that
a
mean?
horror apple. If the tree was sprouting little horror apples.
Horror apple, like you would give to a horror teacher almost.
Yeah, and you take out a little bite of it. Ooh, horrific. I remember
Yup.
staring at the red LED display of the floor numbers above the panel of buttons. I watched as the number blinked, changing from 6 to 5. As
Going
it did,
down.
the elevator beeped pleasantly. I
Ah,
pulled out my phone even though the wait between my floor and the ground floor wasn't long enough to merit taking out my phone to pass time, listening to the accompanying beep as we passed each floor. The LED display blinked. 5th floor, beep. 4th floor, beep. 3rd floor, beep. And then there was a pause,
the
a
silence
silence.
between the floors, right?
I looked up from my phone. The LED display lingered on floor 3. For half a second, I felt panic rise in my gut.
Yeah, I would.
And then, just as quickly, I pushed it back down. This always happens, I remembered, mentally kicking myself. Literally every single time I'd ridden these elevators for the past 2 years. It was a fact of living here. Feeling kind of stupid at how quick I'd been to panic, I settled back against the wall,
Monka
ignoring the
W.
rapid tempo of my heartbeat and looked back at my phone. Waiting. Seconds passed. The display didn't blink. The beep didn't sound. But, and this is very important, the elevator never stopped going down. Never changed speeds.
Where are you going? Where are
Or
you
did
going?
anything out of the ordinary.
Where are you going?
Not even
Where are
for
you
a
going?
moment.
Where are you going?
It just kept going down,
Well,
taking me along with it. An unflickering 3 glared down at me. At first, I
How can it-
assumed the LED display
It doesn't have
must have glitched
eyes.
out or something. I was clearly still moving down,
Why does she-
so it was fine.
she's like,
I
hey!
would hit the ground floor, maybe even the basement, and deal with whatever the issue was then. With luck, the doors would still open even if the display was broken, and if they didn't, I'd just use that emergency button that I was always terrified of accidentally pressing with my elbow. The point was, as much as the situation may or may not become pretty annoying, I wasn't in danger. And then I had the sudden realization that I'd been standing there, running through those possible outcomes and solutions and all that bullshit in my head for a sizable chunk of time.
You're still
Maybe a
going
minute,
down?
Maybe more. I'd ridden this elevator hundreds of times before, maybe even thousands. I'd ridden it a lot. I had a solid enough idea of how long it took to get from the 3rd floor to the 1st, and it definitely didn't take longer than a minute. For a long moment, I was just confused. I stood there, trying to work out the math of how I could still feel like I was moving at the same rate I'd been from the beginning, but not hit the bottom yet. I've never been good at math, so I stood there with my brain spinning in
Me
my
neither.
skull,
I just studied
trying
arithmetic.
to make sense of it.
It's Steve. It's Steve.
And in that time, the number didn't blink, the beep didn't sound, and the elevator never stopped or even faltered in its descent. By that point, the fact that I still hadn't hit the bottom was starting to fill me with panic. Trying not to let it overwhelm me, I considered that maybe the elevator went further down than the basement, that maybe there were levels down
She's
lower.
going to hell.
I couldn't see any buttons for anything below the basement, and I had never heard of anything further down. But it was the only really reasonable explanation left, so I told myself that that had to be it.
What are you doing in this situation, Ryan? What is it? What is your approach to this? You're in an elevator, it's going down, and it's going down, and it's going down an impossible amount of time.
I'd shout the G.
What's happening here?
Diaper,
What are you doing?
diaper
Well, my
would be
first
full.
thought is I would
Diaper.
go through the progression of possible outcomes here. Like my first thought would be, okay, maybe this is not as long as I thought it was. You know, we've all been there. You're scrolling your Twitter feed, you see a funny little joke, ha ha ha. And then you come back into reality and you're like, whoa, wait a second, where am I?
Yeah.
So that could be a possibility.
That does
Been in the
happen.
feed too long. Is that what you're saying when you scroll?
That does happen. Sometimes, okay, it's kind of weird to compare it to this, but, so like, I have this hair remover stuff that I put on my ass, and you're supposed to keep it there for 10 minutes. Sometimes I don't know if it's been 5, 30, 4 hours, 6 months, a year and a half. I have no idea. So yeah. All right, back to the story, guys.
Through the feed, like, how long have I been in the feed, man?
Who knows?
The feed, the quad
but
feed?
that's a possibility.
Quad
and then
feed?
even after that, it's like, okay, maybe there are other basement floors. And then after that, now I'm getting a little concerned, and I'm starting to wonder, am I maybe perceiving that this elevator is actually going down, and it's not going down? Like I'm confusing the sensation in a way. Like my brain is making the sensation, and in fact, the elevator's just stuck.
That is also a
I
possibility.
feel like I'd just bust out some Angry Birds or something and chill.
No, I mean,
So, trying and failing
still has
to
Angry
swallow
Birds
my
on in
rising
2020?
panic, I stood there and went back to my phone to calm myself down. I knew it couldn't
Wonka
go down
W.
forever. There had to be a bottom. There had to be. So, I just waited. I'm honestly surprised at how long I forced myself to stand there and wait before I snapped.
that's so
Eventually, I just thought, fuck it,
Ah!
and hit the emergency button. Nothing happened. Nausea instantly blossomed in my
Okay,
stomach.
what is
as
that
my
face?
body started trembling, anxiety coursing through me.
weird. What is that
I
face?
jabbed my thumb on the bottom a couple more times. Nothing. I hit
Monka
every other
ass.
button I could see. Each one lit as I pushed it, and blinked off sadly when I let it go. Nothing. The elevator did not stop going down.
Go into the
It didn't
gulag.
falter, it didn't shudder, and it did not change its speed. Above me, the LED display glowed red, unblinking. I stopped hitting buttons and stared at it until the glowing red 3 was burned into my eyes, until I saw it flashing in the darkness every time I blinked. It did not flicker.
Elevator.
All right, boys. What do you think is going on in this story? Is it like a possible, like, is it going to be one of those things where it builds a whole story to it, and then all of a sudden she gets it goes bing, and then she appears on floor 1? Because if you think about it, that's what I'm going for. That's what I'm thinking right now, is because the story went out of its way to mention that there is a pause between floor 3 and floor 1, and it doesn't beep on 2, and it's on 3, hasn't went to 1 yet, and the person is going through their mind, flipping out, shaving their diapers full because they're like, why is it not going to 1? It's been really long. But then she's gonna be like, beep, it goes to 1, nothing happens, story ends. Or she's going to hell. She's gonna open the door, devil's gonna be like, or that's what I'm thinking.
That's what they should call this. Is that what this story's called? Hellevator? Hellevator.
No,
goes
but
to hell.
that's a good name for it. I'm actually sure that must be a B horror film at this point.
Probably.
No? I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I'm starting to lose my shit.
Same.
The idea of being trapped in something that's perpetually in motion, that's kind of breaking the laws of physics
Oh.
as in real time, I'm legit probably really starting to have a panic attack at this point. Actually, reading this is already giving me a panic
Yeah, the
just
diet.
even placing myself in this situation. Are you not freaked out at this point?
No, because it's just kind of a weird situation to have. I feel like it's like eating a.
Exactly.
It's, like if
It's
someone was
weird.
Like,
That's
I
what.
took a bite of a hot dog and I kept on biting and I still had a hot dog in my like. It's
But
not,
you're Professor Science Man.
as a unlicensed Professor Science Man.
Yeah, that's the official term.
You have to understand that my brain is not approaching this from a wow, what if this happened angle to a wow, this is impossible angle. So
Maybe you don't understand the meaning of a hypothetical.
no, I get it.
If this happened to you,
I'm doing jumps. I'm doing my infinite jumps. It's a rare opportunity and it seems like fun. If I die in an elevator, then they'll be like, well, we got to fix this, you know? So I guess in the end, it was worth it.
could I actually just see what you would probably look like mid elevator jump if that's the last thing you were doing as the last breath left your mouth? It's so scary. The elevator did not stop going down. I screamed. It didn't do any good, obviously, but I just sort of lost it.
That's so
And
mu-
honestly,
Wait, you know what I realized? Why isn't she called someone? Okay, sorry to pause it, but why isn't she has a phone? Why isn't she called someone? Called Grandma Jank. Grandma? The fuck's going on? Like, you know what I mean?
I think I was completely justified. Well, what else are you supposed to do? You're in an unwinnable situation. Sometimes you gotta let it out. If I was truly still going down the shaft, I was impossibly deep. So, I was left in a position where I needed to accept that my situation couldn't be explained logically. So, I screamed. I slammed my fist into the panel of buttons once, before I thought better of it and just slammed at the bare walls with my hands until they ached and stung. Eventually, I just slumped onto the floor,
That's so
feeling
manga.
completely defeated. But as I did, I realized I could just check the time on my phone. With this, I could figure out how long I had been trapped here. I knew I had gotten on sometime around 9:20ish. I blinked at the bright screen and focused on the numbers. It said 9:23. I instantly felt a flood of relief. I was just overreacting. I had to be, and that was proof.
Look at
I
her
was
face.
disassociating or
She's
having
like-
a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, the clock wouldn't lie. I hadn't been going down.
I
for a
don't
crazy long
know.
time. It had only been a couple of minutes. I was fine. That had to mean I was fine. So, I sat there on the floor, just letting myself breathe for a second. I checked to see if I had service. I didn't, but wasn't too surprised, as my
Monka.
phone barely works in elevators on a normal day. So, I just kept trying to slow my breathing. My throat was raw from screaming, and my hands still stung.
Raw?
After a while, when I felt like I'd managed to calm down, I took another look at my phone. 9:23. Huh. That was weird. But I probably just hadn't spent as much time doing those deep breaths as I thought. So, I stared at my phone screen and waited.
Okay, this is
I
weird.
sat there and stared at the screen until my butt hurt from the hard floor, until my
Ass
eyes
niche?
watered from lack of blinking. Or maybe I was just crying again. 9:23, the screen said. The time hadn't changed. Nothing had changed. Not the number 3 on the LED display, not the time on my phone, not the speed at which I was moving,
Yeah.
and not the direction I was going. Nothing changed, except for me. I could still change. I spent the next I don't know how long having a full-blown breakdown, complete with screaming until my throat physically couldn't make the sound anymore, and hitting every available surface. I even tried to force the doors open.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say she should try
accidentally
that.
ripped an entire nail off trying. But the doors didn't budge. Eventually, I fell asleep on the ground, my face sticky with tears and my hands sticky with blood. Sometime later, I woke
It's
up
Steve.
with a jolt from a dream of
It's
falling,
Steve. It's
of
Steve.
never hitting the ground, to the realization that I was absolutely starving and incredibly thirsty. Time was passing for me, I realized, but I was still stuck. I was stuck in a 5-foot box with no access to food or water, and no way out.
You can drink your own pee though, for the record.
This is very Monka-esque. This is, oh, bro. That's so crazy. She's in like some type of time loop. So the time's not changing, the floor's not changing. Imagine that happening to you. Imagine that happening to you. You know, dude. Ugh. Let's just wait, hold on. Yep. I shit myself. That's so scary. But bro, that is Monka W, bro. She's looping. That's Monka. That is Monka.
Record.
I'm scared.
Sure, yes, you can drink your own pee.
I think
I'd eat my own
I think
shit.
a few times actually. I think you can drink it and then piss it out again, and then I think you can drink it again and probably a few times. Eventually, it'll probably just turn into poison. But
Yes, we don't need to turn this into whether or not pee is sterile or drinkable or any of that Bear Grill shit. However,
I love the
Can you
idea
do that
of
with
someone being
poo-poo?
stuck in an elevator for like 8 minutes and then just drinking their own piss.
full Bear Grylls and going, I guess this is what I have to do. And then that elevator door opens right when they're taking that piss right to their lips.
Oh, hello.
This is not what it looks like. I thought I was trapped in here.
I thought it was a elevator.
My throat felt like sandpaper.
It's Steve.
My saliva was
It's
like
Steve.
thick clots of glue. I'll spare you the details of the whole bathroom experience, but
Aw.
here's a brief summary of it. Not good.
Poop niche, corner niche.
I could see my ribs when I looked down.
Bro,
It
what?
sucked. It all sucked.
How long's she been
I
in
think
there?
that's pretty obvious, but yeah, it fucking sucked. I think I would have ripped my own arm off for a drink of water. I nodded off again. I lost track of time a long while ago. I don't think I've had a solid idea of it since my realization that I'd been going down for too long, but I definitely lost any rough idea I'd had after I fell asleep that first time. All I have left to keep track of the passage of time is the unfortunate reality that I could literally feel myself dying. Dying of thirst specifically.
No.
Which means I have a pretty solid expiration date.
3
I
days.
can't remember exactly how long it
Like
takes
three-
to die of thirst, but I'm pretty sure it's something like 3 or 4 days. So, I guess I haven't been trapped here quite that long, but honestly, I don't think I'm that far off. I'm not sure how
She's
much
just
time I
napping.
have left. Probably not long.
What is going on?
Considering the
This
black
story.
spots in my vision. This really, really sucks. I'm not ready to die, I don't think. I can't stop thinking
No.
about my family. If I die in here, there's only 2 different ways this plays out for them, and both suck absolute shit. Option 1, my body is never found, and my disappearance remains an unsolved mystery forever. My family then spends the rest of their lives wondering what could have possibly happened to me. Or, option 2, somehow my body is found. I'm obviously a disgusting wreck, dehydrated and starved to death, and they have to live with the reality that I died slowly and in agony.
No.
God, that would destroy them. But not knowing would destroy them too, I think. I don't even know which outcome I'd prefer. I guess I won't exactly get to choose, so... God, I wish I could have pet my dog one last time.
I mean, if you had a wish, if genies show up and ask you if you
Dude, how is this story gonna end? I don't know where it's going. This is weird. I don't think there's been one like this on this series where it's like fucking. No, there's been paranormal. I don't know if you would consider this paranormal though. This is like fucking traveling to the next altered dimension.
want to wish.
The genie's like, you know you only get one wish here, so no do-overs.
Sleeping? Why would
Yes,
you?
I'd like to pet my dog.
Cool. Well, your dogs are going to die here as well now. How about get me off of this elevator?
I can barely move. I keep passing out at random times, and I'm so fucking weak. I can barely even hold my phone. I'm lying on my stomach right now, so I
Yup,
leave
cut.
the phone on the ground while I type.
Monka ass.
I'm just going to close my eyes for a bit.
You're gonna wake up in the gulag.
And
Oh.
then we go into, it looks like, an investigator supplementary note October 3rd, 2019, case file 9836.
No.
The above written statement was found in the Notes application on an Apple iPhone X model, which was lying face up on the floor of an elevator, approximately 3 inches away from the deceased body of a 20-year-old woman named Cor Licata.
No.
The timestamp on the electronic note indicates that it was written on October 3rd, 2019 at 9:23 a.m. The body of Cor Licata was found on October 3rd, 2019 at 9:23 a.m. approximately by another resident of the dorms. The deceased was
Wait, when was the body? Wait, hold on.
Notes application on an Apple iPhone X model, which was lying face up on the floor of an elevator, approximately 3 inches away from the deceased body of a 20-year-old woman named Cor Licata. The timestamp on the electronic note indicates that it was written on October 3rd, 2019 at 9:23 a.m.
October 3rd.
The body of Cor Licata was found on October 3rd, 2019 at 9:23 a.m. approximately by another resident of the dorms. The deceased was last seen by one of her roommates at 9:21 a.m. approximately as she left the dorm to retrieve her laundry on the ground floor of her dorm building.
No shot.
All evidence presented, including the aforementioned witness account and the timestamps on her mobile phone, she was unaccounted for approximately 1 minute while taking the elevator from the 6th floor to the 1st floor. The body of Cor Licata was found in a state that the forensic teams agree is consistent with 2 years of decomposition. The cause of death has been determined to be dehydration, after evidence gathered indicated a lack of water or nutrition for at least 3 days before death. Additional non-lethal trauma to the hands and face appears self-inflicted. Despite the evidential forensics, the victim seems to have only been missing for no more than a minute before her body was discovered. This investigation is ongoing, with current inquiries into the possibility of a homicide. I believe this label to be inaccurate.
Doritos,
but a
thanks
more
for the
suitable
follow.
One could not be found.
I'm glad you're doing good, man.
End
I
of
appreciate you, bro.
investigator's supplement. So, are you scared?
Okay, that's really it's definitely like a made up story, right? It's definitely gonna be like this story was fabricated by Jimmy Thing that, you know what I mean?
That'd be a bummer if you were like really pissed off, like someone left their clothes in here, and then someone just tapped you on the shoulder and was like, she turned into a raisin in the elevator. You'd be like, what? Well, let's find out if this is true.
I got a sneaking suspicion here.
Yeah.
Going Down was submitted to us for this show by Maya M. and is an imagined story.
Oh,
well, no, Shiza.
I know you were. I know you were at the
No,
edge of your seat there. Shane.
Shiza.
Everyone could sleep soundly tonight. You could
gonna
go up the
upend my
elevator
whole
to your
life.
apartment
I'm not going on.
undeterred because you will not have the life force sucked out of you. And
So basically, she goes in the elevator. She's like, "Bleh, I love doing my laundry." She's like, "Bleh, bleh, bleh." She goes in the elevator. She's like, God, I love going down. Grandma Jenkins saw her. She's like, oh, see you later. It's 9:21. I'll see you at the bottom floor, right? You're definitely not going to go into an altered dimension and get sucked and fucking dehydrated in the elevator, right? No, I'll see you later. Do. And something's wrong with the elevator, haunted or something's going down, something's going wrong. She's like, skirt, goes into the altered dimension. She went to Minecraft. I think what happened, she went to the nether. She tried to get an XP farm and it didn't work. You know the faulty XP farms? Something like that. No, but seriously, that was a good I've never heard of like a concept of a story like that. That scared me a lot. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching the video. I appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe. By the way, this is taken directly from my live stream. I'm live every day. It'll be linked below. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching this video. Peace out, gamers. Peace out, guys.